drivers are gone. Black Ops 11 wouldn't run. You think, what have I done to trust Lisa with my funds? But they turned it around after Steve chewed them out. And now game support is here to stay, but for how long? Advanced marketing disaster. Advanced marketing disaster. Such a shame how far you fall when we see what you offer. The greed got you too, so what am I to do? The devil involved. Oh, the devil you know. When G-Force gave us scraps, you gave us everything. Double the memory for no more money, but it's not all rosy, Lee, because I remember driver pain, that dreaded black screen on my 5700. Advanced marketing disaster. Advanced marketing disaster. Such a shame how far you fall when we see what you offer. The greed got you too, so what am I to do? The devil involved. Oh, the devil you know. You know. Do I take the green, the red, or blue? Or sack it all and do something new? The games are full of sweats with loot boxes everywhere, but there's something pulling me. Advanced marketing disaster. Advanced marketing disaster. Such a shame how far you fall when we see what you offer. The greed got you too, so what am I to do? The devil involved. Or the devil you know. You know. Or the devil you know. Sky is falling down, dark days are here. Machinations will halt in a world of fear. But you and me are true, I know just what to do. Walk with me, it's time we fly. Escape Armageddon tonight. When your lips meet my lips in this apocalypse, I know I've made it through. When your hand meets my hand in this cold predicament, I know I've made it through. Sun is folding up, the light has gone out. The 1% took it to the detriment of all. But you and me are here with a million things to see. Get out that bedroom, open your eyes, turn the PC off tonight. When your lips meet my lips in this apocalypse, I know I've made it lips meet my lips in this apocalypse, I know I've made it through. When your hand meets my hand in this corporate demand, I know I've made it through. When your lips meet my lips in this apocalypse, I know I've made it through. Never feel you behind, like the one they all forgot. Life's full of splendor, yours full of awe. Technically perfect, but spiritually nil. Everything on paper, nothing in the field. Touch grass, feel it on your skin. It's time to leave that basement, that dungeon of sin. Touch grass, unplug from the rush. Let it heal you, you're online too much. Stop this tape and take it out. Iron your shirt, make your bed. Time to start again. Move the body, move the mind. Make a plan to turn around, see you the other side. Touch grass, feel it on your skin. It's time to leave that basement, that dungeon of sin. Touch grass, unplug from the rush. Let it heal you, you're online too much. Unplug from the rush. Let it heal you, you're online too It costs too much. It costs too much. I gave it all, but it costs too much. Every day I'm a slave to corporate men on higher pay. Just wanna sit and game after another hard day. But GPU ballooned in price, CPU are hard to find. Motherboards aren't coming down, and PSU are gambles now. My paycheck can't stretch no more. The government took it all, so I'll just sit and churn. I've been stuck here. The last cent in my pay packet is buying Jensen's 13th jacket. GPU ballooned in price, CPU are hard to find, motherboards aren't coming down, and PSU are gambles now. My paycheck can't stretch no more, the government took it all, so I'll just sit and churn. I've been priced out of fun. I'll just sit and churn. I've been priced out of fun. I've been priced out of fun. Priced out of fun.
Oh yeah. Right, hang on. 7 stream. There we go. Hey everybody. I need to turn off the monitoring for the audio and then we're good. Okay. Beautiful. Good to see people in the chat. It's been a while since we've done a little stream. Anyone that's new, anyone that's not. Today we are building RTX 5080 PC. We've got the Gigabyte 5080. This is just the plain old WindForce OC SFF. These sort of smaller Gigabyte ones are actually really nice because they don't have a load of like gaudy RGB on the front. They're just going to be timeless. These are always going to look good. Whereas if you get some like fancy thing with loads of RGB on it, it's probably going to look a bit goofy in a couple of years. So I do like these, and they're pretty slender too. So we'll be doing that today. Just one build. I do need to keep the stream shorter because they've historically been far too long. So it's good to see everybody. This is a perfect evening for streaming on my end because it's absolutely chucking it down outside. So building a nice gaming PC today. The spec is on the left. It will show up a bit better in a minute just because of the lighting. But it's a nice 7800X3D and RTX 5080 build. So focus. There it is. Yes, it's going to be a pretty nice little high-end build. Actually, it's a 9800X3D. My bad. Not the 7800X3D. So pretty sweet. Doing that today. Just a chill stream. Obviously, anyone that wants to ask any PC advice, go ahead. That's what the stream's for as well. No adverts, so you shouldn't be getting any mid-roll ads. Let's crack on. Before starting, I do want to say thank you very much to anybody in the chat that has recommended or bought a PC. We've had our best couple of weeks ever. Crazy. Last week, in the last 7 days, we've done about 20k in revenue, which is very good. So I'm very happy with that. Obviously, the word is getting out there about us, so that's fantastic. And without further ado, let's change to the other camera angle and we'll get on with the build. We've got the parts all laid out here. This is a really nice spec. So we have this MSI B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. And I got this from my distributor for £145. Considering it has like a 14-phase VRM or something, this is insanely good value. And as everybody that's on the channel knows, buying B850 over B860 gets you basically nothing in performance. So pretty good. So this was an absolute steal. I think this is a fantastic price. Obviously, that's not a retail price, that's a distro price, but look at that connectivity as well. The Tomahawks really do nail it. What's better about this Tomahawk compared to the others is that this one doesn't have that awful sort of yellow-green stamp all over it. It's just a nice plain black, looks much classier. So there we go. X870 Tomahawk. Interesting. I've just bought an Asus, not an Asus, MSI X670 Carbon for a really high-end build that I'm going to do soon. Yeah, so Desteo, yeah, thank you, by the way. And I'm getting flashbacks to 2020, 2021 with the GPU shortage. where PCs were just flying off the shelves. Like I would list a PC locally in 2021, it would be sold within, hours. So, if you've got RAM at a good price and you've invested before, like I did, you're in a good place, at least until your current supply, doesn't dry up. I did order 10 more kits of Corsair at £330 for a 32 gig kit. That stung a bit, but I think it's going to get even worse. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that, by the way, just that you're having a good start to the month as well. And I think actually with your end doing a lot of used stuff, you might be in a fantastic position here with people being priced out of the new market. You might actually get quite an uptick in business. So it could be good for everybody here. Apart from a DIY build your own, I suppose, right? Because having a bit of buying power does help. But it's not to say I'm happy about the situation. It's much nicer to be able to sell things at a more sensible cost. But we do have to live in the real world. No amount of complaining is going to change that. So, yeah. And we got a question. Do you earn more from your business or surgeon job? I'm not a surgeon. I'm just a plain old doctor. I've got about 3 years experience. But I just do locum at the moment when I'm not here. But I've taken the last 3 or 4 months off medicine to build up the business, which has helped a lot. If you'd seen the website like 4 months ago, it's come leaps and bounds. It's a lot better now. So it's been worth the time investment, but I will have to go back to medicine for a little bit. And that does, at the moment, pays a lot more. Like I could do locum and get around 45 to 55 pounds an hour, whereas I'm not getting that with the business unless it keeps up the current pace that it is at the moment, which I don't anticipate it will. I think people are panic buying at the moment. DDR5 used for 200. That is actually wow, that would be fantastic. The only issue with that is that £200 for me is actually £240 because I have to account for the VAT. That's the only thing. All right. So let's just crack on with our build. So this is a Clev Crass SSD. Why isn't that focusing? Is it on the manual focus? I bet it is, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. Just flick it back on. There we go. So it's a Clev Crass C910. I mean, these were like 60 quid like a month ago. I just dropped it. These going for 100 quid now. I just kept seeing it go up every day. I bought one at £83, then it's £87, then it's £93, now it's £100. So I've seen the pattern. I've just bought 10 Bywin SSDs, quite nice ones actually. Black Opal 7400s for £100. I just bought 10 of them this afternoon because I think it's going to get even worse. It's mental. The Clev ones do come with a heatsink sticker, but I've taken it off, or not put it on, because the board's already got the heatsinks. So I'd rather have it just go direct onto the heatsink. So let's put it in. Cool. So this one does have 3 slots. We've got this one here, but I'd rather use the heatsink one, seeing as there's 3. If it only had 2 slots, I would probably use a bare one and just use the heatsink sticker, but just because it makes it easier for the user to service it later by putting a new SSD and they don't have to take their graphics card out. Funny story about graphics cards, which I'll tell you once the motherboard is complete. I had like a light bulb moment because I had a few warranty issues. I will talk to you about the diagnosis for that one later. I felt like Dr. House doing it. Where did I snag the £100 Bywins? They're on Amazon. So if you look for the Bywin Black Opal 7400, those are 100 quid a pop, and they're quite nice drives, like Gen 4 top speed. They don't have DRAM, but I think at the moment we can't be too picky about having DRAM on our SSDs in this climate. There's also Desteo. There is a Samsung 990 Evo 4TB for £240 on Amazon as well, worth snagging. Cool. So let's put this one on. So these have just got the toolless spinny type M2 slots. So no tools required, which is kind of nice, I suppose. And like always, guys, if there's audio issues, visual issues, please tell me in the chat. You're not going to offend me. You're not going to upset me. It's PC hardware. I'm not going to get I'm not going to get emotional about it. That's just that's beta cuck behavior, baby. Don't get emotional about PC hardware. Yeah, H7. It is honestly. There's a purchase restriction of 1 unit per customer, but if there wasn't, I'd have snagged a good few of those. Yeah, and Desteo's right. The DRAM doesn't matter as much now, especially when you've got good HMB technology. It doesn't matter too much. I'd only really recommend DRAM to people that are creative professionals. Otherwise, gamers aren't going to notice the difference. I've got to put this phone on silent. I had to ship 6. So on Thursday off stream, I built something like, I think I built 6 PCs in 8 hours or something. It was crazy. It's just so much faster off stream, but it kind of sucked the enjoyment out of it a little bit, if not gonna lie. So Jacob, this is the 5080 gigabyte we're using. It's just the WindForce. It's a slim one actually. You could probably fit this in a Fractal Terra because it's only like a 2 and a bit slots, and I'm sure that width would just about fit in a Terra. So these are pretty nice. Like, they've downsized the gigabyte cards a lot, but they haven't lost much, if any, cooling performance. So kudos to Gigabyte, I suppose. Yeah, I think Destare, you're probably right, because in your line of customers, they're going to be looking for lowest price, and as much as you want to offer somebody fantastic value, give them a 1 terabyte SSD, they're going to be comparing to other people, and they're not going to be looking at the amount of storage. So I think going for a 500 is totally fair enough for more budget stuff. Honestly, I think you're fine, and just give them the option to upgrade if needed. All right, so next we'll put in the RAM. So this is some Acer Vesta. I bought a shit. I shouldn't say that on stream. I bought a shed load of this a while ago. So I'm running through my supply. But because of the SSDs and this RAM, I'm increasing my prices like every 3 days. It sucks, man. Yeah, exactly. I think to stay, you have to. I know, like we say, 1 terabyte is the modern standard, but at the end of the day, that's the psychology of the customer. They're going to be looking, especially if they're buying a used, refurbished PC. They're going to be looking for lowest price. It's just the way it is, right? But we're in different market positions, so obviously we can share business acumen because we're not going to be treading on each other's toes. But that would be my impression of that. And it's one of the reasons I don't actually do too many cheaper PCs, just because when people are that budget constrained, it's completely logical that you would really want to be getting the most value for money. Whereas when you start going up to more premium stuff, the quality of the service and the warranty and everything becomes more important relative to the overall cost. So I would support you in doing 500 gig SSDs. So 9800X3D CPU. These are insanely popular, by the way. The 9800X3D and 7800X3D, they're just like, they're bangers, aren't they? They're so popular. Especially with the 7800X3D, because I'm getting them at tray price of like £290 at the moment. It's so damn good, man. So damn good. Cracking. So platform is almost complete. We just need to put the cooler on. We've got a Thermalright Frozen Knot, classic cooler. The only problem with the knot is that I would want the sort of infinity mirror to be like rotatable, because I want to put the tubes on this side to make it look nicer, but then the logo is going to be upside down. On Thermalright, it doesn't matter too much because on this one there's no text and the symbol is just 3 blocks. So I'm going to put it this way around for this build. But I think all AIOs should have the ability for the RGB to be moved around so that it can always be upright, in my opinion. That's why I've been using a lot of the ID Cooling FX Infinity series, because you can just twist that front thing wherever you want. Right, thermal paste. Now, if I remember correctly, this Thermalright stuff is like is really like viscous, so you have to like drill it into the. Yeah, you can see it's not. Oh, it's not too bad. Sometimes like you can't even get it out of the syringe. Like it just sort of sticks on the end of the syringe. Oh, see, look, it's just done it. It's so viscous. This is why, but I guess that means it's probably longer lasting. This is crazy. Go on, you come. Oh my god, absolute nightmare. This stuff. This MX6 is much nicer to work with, but this is probably longer lasting. So Right, that should be enough. Garden pea-sized amount. That's thick as. You couldn't spread that. You'd have to just use the cooler pressure to sort that one out. The thing that's nice about the frozen knot is that the mounting is so easy. You just sort of pre-loosen these screws, not too much, otherwise it'll come off. And then obviously take your film off. Don't forget to do that. I did forget to do that on one of them yesterday. And there was a 7500F going to like 95C. I was like, that ain't right. And then all you need to do is the pump's got a little arrow on it, like here. It might be hard to see on the stream. And you just line that up with the arrow that's on here. Like that, and then you just twist it. Damn easy. I mean, there's pros and cons of using this method, but I find this quite robust. I think it seems to be fairly good. But I remember on some older AIOs that they would sometimes rotate and slip off, but this one seems to be pretty good. And then all you do is just hook that little square bit over the bottom, hook it over the top. Make sure both ends are hooked, which they are now. We'll give it a little twisty twist. And just alternate a little bit so that you're not clamping one side all the way down first. Just gets a bit of a more even spread of the paste underneath. No, something's wrong there. Hang on. The mounting piece isn't properly around the cooler. Just have a look at that. I was praising how easy it is to mount, and I haven't even done it properly. Or there's something wrong with it. We'll see. It's okay. This is a chilled stream build, so it's totally fine. P310s at one. Oh god, dude, those bottom of the barrel things, 100 quid now. God damn. Yeah, see, look, it's not made any contact properly. This has come out. So the plate is in on one side, but not on the other. Let's try that again. There we go. That's flush, so that should now work. One would hope. What? I think in general the paste on most coolers is really viscous nowadays. I think because they've realised that if it dries out, the customers are going to return their AIOs within the warranty period, so they make it thicker so it doesn't dry out. I mean, that's my theory. So this should now be nice and evenly. Yeah, that's much better. We'll obviously test the temperatures anyway, but that feels a lot nicer than it did before. Oh, the buy wins. Sorry to stay. I probably bought all of them. I mean, I put. There should be more because I ordered 10, but they had that same day delivery thing. So usually that means they're stocked in my local distribution warehouse. So maybe people have just cottoned onto it already. Yeah. So the thing is, Jake, you can put it left or right. The problem is if you put it on the left, it's going to look a lot nicer with the pipes like this. If you put it on the right, it's going to all like, so we can simulate that by doing it that way. Like it gets all bunched up like this. So that's why I've done it with the thermal right this way. If there was any text on the pump head RGB, you'd have to put it on the right anyway because you don't want the text to be upside down. But yeah, so this is why I do it that way. You can't, on this cooler, put the pipes coming out at the bottom, which is the best, in my opinion, because that's the best of both worlds. So this is going to be the best looking, because we're going to put it above the motherboard like this. Oh, Fangshan 1 terabyte. See, I haven't I haven't ventured into the Fangshangs yet. And I don't think I will. I think I'll just pay more. But yeah, I did order 10 of those buy wins, so... you know, if you're in the southwest near Devon, I might be the reason why you can't get them. Sorry, but if you're anywhere else in the country, it won't be my fault. Right. So sometimes it's a nice idea just to plug in, you know, some of your plugs beforehand. Here makes things a little bit easier. We've got the fan splitter cable here as well. Put that onto the CPU fan. Cool. Go like that. So put that one on first. Actually, we'll put that. Doesn't really matter, but we'll put that one on first. Actually. How is this 3-pin system? What people came up with when designing RGB? Honestly, terrible plug, isn't it? At least these click together nicely. And then we just need the fan speed. How did they know, Desteo? How did they know? They must have access to my Google Calendar. And then we could do a little bit more prep here as well if we want. We can put some of the modular cables on. Now, there's two schools of thought with the sleeve cables. You know, do you put the sleeve cables on the CPU or not? I'm going to say not, because I just think that it looks better with the stock cables folded over really tight, whereas on these they look a little bit bulky. So I probably just won't use these. I wish I could just buy the GPU and the 24-pin on their own, but when you do that, it's more expensive. It's so strange. So I'm just going to put the stock CPU cables on. It also reduces a point of failure in the system as well. That's how I'm going to justify it. I'll just put those in. One there. We'll talk about the PSU in a moment. And then we've got the other CPU cable as well. Do you know what? Actually, we'll do this later. We'll do this later. Right. This can be moved aside. It's in a box to put it on. More FPS with RGB. You know, the ironic thing is, if you're overclocking, you actually get less FPS with the RGB because the diodes in it need their own IC and heat and produce heat as well. Cool. So we've got a power supply here. Cooler Master MWE Gold V3. These were about £85 or so. There's one distributor I used to use called Spire, but they got bought out by West Coast, which is a bigger distributor, and basically all the good deals have gone, apart from a few things like this motherboard and this power supply, and sometimes cases, but they haven't got anything good anymore. Like I don't know, I think there probably wasn't a good idea for them to be integrated with West Coast, but we'll see. So that's the PSU. We've seen the GPU, we've seen basically everything except the case now, so let's get the case ready. Yeah, Desteo, I know, man. Do you know Spire's website was probably the best one? Like, out of the distros, Spire is probably the best one for, like, sorting through things, and yeah, it's so much better before. I think they've cocked it up. But maybe if they got bought out, then that's what the owner wanted. But it's just so clunky to get around, isn't it? The old one was just simple, and simple is good when you're just trying to buy components for your business. Like VIP, I use a lot now because their prices have improved a lot, but their website is trash for navigating through. But Spire was my favorite UI to use. But yeah, I find the VIP really good for CPU at the moment, and sometimes GPU. But then, yeah, it's a mix. You do have to just shop around. I find that Amazon prices are pretty good at the moment, actually. They use a lot of Amazon. This will be all black, correct, but it's got RGB, so yeah, it'll be all black with RGB. Yeah, VIP's website is so bad, man. It's really badly laid out. It's you can't filter and sort anything. So yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Okay. So quick story time before we go here. Does anybody on stream know what this is? Does anybody on stream know what this is? This PC component? That's right, GPU. Yeah, it's anti-sag GPU. So this is a Lian Li GB002 anti-sag. Can anyone guess why I've banned them from my website now? I'm not using these anymore, ever again. Can anyone tell me why? And whilst I'm waiting, we can start by wiring up the power supply, I think, actually. So put this aside. Supply. Powering computers with modular cable. I don't think we have any SATA devices, but I like to just have one in anyway. It makes the system more serviceable later in case the customer decides they want to chuck away their modular cables, which does happen. Do you have to pay to get an account from distributors? No, you just have to have a legitimate business, and they'll take you on. Most of the time, I mean, there's some that are a bit more funny than others, but most of the time they're okay. It's better if you're a registered company. You can't just go on there and just be somebody from the public and get on there. It won't work that way. So the Cooler Master virus has struck again with their stupid 90-degree angled plug, which only works on half of the GPUs because of the way that it's angled. So, like all the time with the Cooler Master power supply, we have to wedge off the 90-degree plastic housing so that we can actually use the damn thing. I don't know what the hell they were thinking at Cooler Master, honestly. Oh, right, I need to get a blade. So the case is the Lian Li Vector, yes, but the power supply is Cooler Master MWE with its stupid 90-degree 12-volt cable. And I'm not going to break it doing this. It's just a plastic housing. You'll see in a minute. All it does is just turn the cable a little bit. So it's not actually a 90-degree plug as such. Come on, out you come. There we go. So that's the piece of plastic. That's the cable. Come on, focus. So it's actually just a piece of plastic that forces the cable to bend, but it's not very useful for half of the GPUs. So we'll plug this in, and then I'll tell you all about the anti-sag system and why I'm not allowed to use it anymore. Cool. So power supply's wired up. Quite a nice looking power supply, actually. Quite like that. All right. So the question was, why don't we use this anymore, right? Because it's actually a really good anti-sag unit. It works well. It holds the GPU up, does a great job, but it has a fatal flaw. And that is the thickness. So when you screw it into your motherboard, you put some standoffs on, you put this plate over it, and then that will allow you to mount this sidebar here so to hold the GPU up. Problem is, you can set it up fine, and then as soon as I ship the PC, a micro bend in this metal may occur during shipping. And then that therefore means it's impossible for you to plug your graphics card into the PCIe slot, and it slightly wiggles out. So I've had 3 RMA tickets with this week from people not having any display out from their GPU. And we finally got to the bottom of it, and luckily we could fix it remotely, having to instruct the customer to take out the anti-sag. So obviously I have to refund them the cost of the anti-sag, but also means you just can't use them anymore. So we have to use those freestanding bars instead. It's a shame because, like, you know, mechanically this is quite good, but for some reason with the modern systems it just doesn't seem to play well with the shipping. I think because the heat sinks over the chipsets on modern motherboards are a bit thicker now, so maybe it's pushing it out a little bit. But I thought that would be an interesting little tidbit before we move on. Four Cooler Master PSUs. Oh my gosh, wow, that's good, Ricey, yeah. My go-to is for the lower end builds is the PL750D, just because it gives you good upgrades. It's ATX 3.1. I just think I need ATX 3.1 on all my builds now, just because of the transient spikes of the GPUs. I don't want to be having issues because I offer a 3-year warranty on all my builds, so I need to make sure I'm using ATX 3.1 units really from now on, unless it's a super budget build. All right. So we can pop this into the case. Wash. Now obviously I'm mounting it with this method on stream, but normally I just have the thing stood up to mount the power supply. But for the viewing pleasure of everybody here, I will be doing it with the case on its side. Where's my scissors gone? It's like a recurring problem on this stream, isn't it? I always lose my scissors. So for the GB002, it doesn't mean I don't recommend that anti-sag system. It just means I can't use it to ship stuff because one tiny little micro bend in transit, you're absolutely shafted. Mountain, my Cooler Master power supply. Ba, 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 ba. So if you build a lot of PCs, electric driver man saves you a lot of elbow grease. I'll have to look at the poll in a minute and see what organs people are selling in order to afford their DDR5 RAM kit. Because maybe I should just retrain as a transplant surgeon instead. Maybe I'll make a bit more money. Who knows? Okay, so we can just move the CPU cables. I like to pre-route these through the top to start with. Now, these are back connect holes, but if you've got a flat cable like this, you can use them to make your cable management a bit neater. So that's what we're going to do. That one will need to be that way around, I think. No, that way around. So I'll route those through like so. We'll actually manage the cables later. We'll just give it a little flippity flip. Just pop those up and out of the way for a mo. Sweet. Right, let's get our motherboard assembly in. So there's sort of two schools of thought with the liquid cooler. Some people will mount the radiator to the top of the case and then put the motherboard in, then mount the pump head on. That's fine. I do it the other way around like this. This is the way that I've found it the best, but it's not wrong to put the radiator in first. On this kind of case, you'd have no problem either way because you've got lots of room to move around. But if you're working in a more compact case with less space above, doing it my way is a lot easier. So I just do it this way to keep it standard every time. But in this particular case that we're using, it wouldn't really matter whether you mounted the radiator or the pump first. Either way, you'll be fine. So you can see that if you feed those cables through now, you know, you can just place the motherboard down and you're good to go. But you obviously have to route those through before you put the motherboard in, otherwise the plug won't fit through. Tell you what, if I could clone organs, oh, be a trillionaire. That's the dream, boys. Organ duplication machine. All right, let's get our motherboard screws. I prefer it when they separate them out. But they do give you the nice box. So, you know, every cloud and all that. Now, whilst we're doing this, any gossip from the weekend, everybody? Like, I want to hear some like juicy gossip. Because working on my own here, I don't get any gossip. And I needs it. Mama needs her stories. That's all I'm going to say. How much do you get for a kidney in the UK? That's a very good question, actually. I don't think it's as much as people think. I think it's something like just a few grand. I don't think you get a huge amount of money. I think because a lot of the time they're not retrieved with consent. You would think. Oh, this one comes with a GB002, but the Gigabyte comes with its own anti-sag as well. So I think I'll use the Gigabyte one. See what it's like. Okay. Right. So it doesn't look like any of these screws are the right ones for the motherboard. So it must be in this little bag here. I think 70 quid for the Vector V100 is a pretty sweet price, actually. Cases are one of the cases, monitors, peripherals generally have actually just continued to improve and not suffered price spikes, which is really nice. Nice, comes with a standoff nut driver. That's nice to see. Not that we won't need it today, but it's nice to have. Just taking my time on today's stream. Organising the screws. Dropping the screws. You know how it goes. Alright, so we probably need the ones with the little hats on, don't we, for motherboard, so I'll set those aside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more needed. Yeah, well, That's yeah, that's true. Data centers don't need monitors and PC cases. Yeah, they don't even need motherboards, do they? So those are going to be the next things to come down in price, I reckon. Disteo, I heard you need an LTT screwdrivers at minimum. Is it true? Well, who would know? I mean, I've got one here, but to be honest, I end up reaching for my old 12 quid one all the time because it's got grip on it. Like this has got a rubberized grip, and this one I find just slips out of my hand all the time. I mean, it's really nicely built. It's very solid, nice, smooth action, no gaps in it. It's nice. The integrated bit set is pretty good. But I mean, if I hadn't lost it, there would also be a bit set in mine. I can't remember. Can't find it. But I just find this one's just got a longer. Oh, nearly dropped all the screws. This one's got a longer shaft like that. It's better for me. So yeah. All right, pop that down there. Hop to it. This is my favorite screwdriver. This Halford's like straight one. It's great. Yeah, so that's what I think, Ricey. I think everything it's going to have to, otherwise it's all just going to sit on shelves and not sell. That's my prediction. I think the motherboards are going to come down by about 20%. I don't think the cases will come down, because the cases are probably already very thin margined because of the shipping of them, because they're so large. But I can see motherboards coming down. I can see power supplies coming down. But I'm not really sure much else will. Maybe CPU, maybe. I need Intel to come out with that Bartlett Lake CPU like now, because I've got a 7200 kit of RAM that I want to use on it. So chop Intel, bring out that, because I've also got an NZXT Z790 board, which I got as a warranty replacement for a Z690 that broke like a year ago. Throws you back to your childhood. I mean, it's got that kind of, you know, like there was, I think it was the original Xbox, right? There was the crystal version where you could see the inside of it. It kind of reminds me of that. That was a cool Xbox, man. They should do more stuff like that where you can see the inner workings of it. Oh god, he's even just called it out in the chat, the Crystal Xbox. The thing was absolutely goated, man. I remember playing Small Soldiers on that with my friend Greg. What a game. And what was the other one? 007 Nightfire. That was another classic. I don't think the cases will get cheaper, Tanmay. I think they'll just ramp down production. CIT have a 3.1? What's that? What's a 3.1? Oh, an ATX 3.1. Oh, really? That is very surprising for CIT. Really? That's funny, man. Oh, Ricey. Yeah, like I know what you're talking about with that iMac. Yeah. It does have that look. You're correct. Cool. So motherboard is in. We've got no trapped cables. Everything is looking hunky dory. So we'll just hook up CPU power. Like so. One. Go says, I got 32 gigabyte kit, 7,000 CL. Yeah, well, that's what. See, Ghost actually has done exactly the right thing. If you get a fast memory kit on AMD, I wouldn't really be running it above 6400. Even 6000 might be better, because the gains on AMD are going to be in the sub timings, but it's not going to improve your average FPS, but it will bring down the 1% lows. So if you're a competitive gamer, that is not a bad shout at all. Although, that said, you can sort of power through that if you run your CPU memory at 2-to-1 mode, and if you can get it to a good enough motherboard to get it to 8000 megahertz, then you'll probably be slightly better off. But the amount of money you're spending on the RAM at that point is crazy. Wow, 100 euros, nice. Which X670 do you have? Because I've got the MSI Carbon coming next week, and it looks really nice. But I'm more of a budget motherboards kind of guy. Like, I don't see the point in the high motherboards unless you're really into your tweaking and overclocking and memory tuning and stuff like that. But for most users, I'd say you don't need an expensive motherboard at all. There'll always be some exceptions, but that's generally what I'd say. Oh, so the X6, so the Gaming Plus Wi-Fi's are actually so good for the money, right? Like the VRM quality and the feature set, and actually the look. I think the Gaming Plus are really nice. Yeah, I know people say that about the future-proofing, right? But what are you future-proofing against? I don't think there's any future-proofing you get from an X670 that you wouldn't get from a B650 if you got a good one. Like, for example, this is a nice B650. This has got a huge VRM, and this is going to be fine for any Ryzen CPU that comes out. 14 phases. If you run your CPU at one volt, that's something stupid like 1,000 watts. Crazy. But you do get some more like USB and PCIe stuff on the higher boards. So if you think you're going to use that, then that's the other justification, I suppose. And also with your memory tuning as well, of course. But why do you need high quality VRMs for a 9800X3D that only runs at 150 watts would be my question. Because an 8-phase VRM is more than enough for a 9800X3D. But you do the overclocking, so that's why you need it. But what I'm saying is, as a general rule for most users, I wouldn't recommend a premium motherboard. You know, 150 watts is nothing. Like, so let's say you've got a 10-phase VRM with 60 amp power stages. So that's 600 watts of potential power. You halve that for safety. That's 300 watts. So unless you're going to double the TDP of your CPU, there's no need. So yeah. I'm not bashing your decision. I'm just trying to explain to other people in the chat that expensive motherboards aren't worth it for most people. Only if you know exactly what you need from that motherboard should you be buying an expensive board. Okay. So we've got the pump cable there. Find a way to... That's the other issue with the Frozen Knot, is that well, it's nice that it's got a decoupled pump, but you do have the separate cable that comes off here. So we'll do that, and then we'll have to find a way to neaten that round. I might cable tie it to the top there, and perhaps feed it round the back. I'm trying to think about what the best route would be here. I think so. So we'll plug it in, and then we can feed the slack through later. Cool. As long as we've got something we can pull on to get the slack of the rest of these bits through, and I think we are good to mount that there. The only justification for a high-end motherboard is if I would say it's like the last thing in your system to be making high-end, really. Everything else that you put in your system will probably get you a better return on investment. Just my 2 cents, though. We got Roman Hills. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. So yeah, that's the thing. So H7 is saying, you know, you get different PCI slots. That is true. And if you have a genuine need for those things, then it makes sense, right? But what I'm saying is, I sell loads of computers. People put a graphics card in and a couple of NVMEs, and that's it. So that's the majority of people aren't using those features. Yeah, so you do. It's mainly a PCIe lane thing that you're going for there more than anything else. IMO, of course, IMO. Just in my opinion. Yeah, that's true. Those specific workloads might, yeah. I honestly think you could put £120 B650 Gigabyte Eagle AX with any Ryzen CPU, and the overwhelming majority of users will not notice any difference in day-to-day use or performance compared to a high-end board. And and that's actually quite a good low-end board. Let's say you got something even cheaper, you'd probably still be fine. But it's difficult because on YouTube you see a lot of like quite technical people giving their opinion on hardware, which is obviously valid, but they're looking at it from a lens of somebody that uses all of these features. But the overwhelming majority of people will not use the features. So why pay the money? Particularly if you're not already at the top end of what the other hardware is, you know? Like I would say getting a slightly larger SSD is a much better use of money than getting an expensive board. But obviously, you know, that's up to you. But that doesn't swing the other way. It doesn't mean that you should get really cheap crap boards. It just means that there's a bit of a sweet spot there. I'd say even a really... You'd be surprised how far a really cheap B650 will take you. Probably all the way. The only thing I wouldn't get is an A620 or a B840. I just think that the value proposition there is a bit worse because when you start going that cheap, you start running into like issues with running expo profiles and stuff, and you lose your PBO, so you will lose a bit of performance with a really cheap board. Yeah, but Ghost, there's loads of cheap B650s with like 3 M2 SSDs on them. Loads of them. ASRock boards give you loads of M2s normally. Like a B850, I think a Riptide has like 4 M2 slots, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong. But I'm not trying to invalidate your purchase. The advice I'm giving is not really to you. It's just I'm just trying to like let other people in the chat know that it's not required to get a lot out of your CPU, and it's not a direct performance improver. Yeah, I agree, Ricey. I think they really should not have called it B840. I think that was awful. They should have kept it A because that's really confusing to the consumer. I really hate that they called it B840. ASRock and X3D feels risky. I disagree because nobody has ever been able to reproduce it that I can see. I've never seen any content where somebody has a live video of them actually having an X3D CPU blow up, and you never see what settings they've used. If you pump a shitload of voltage through your CPU, that might happen, but you're running it way out of manufacturer spec. Not to say that that's acceptable to happen, but these are really edge cases. I've never had a problem with ASRock with X3D, ever. And I've built more PCs than most people that talk about it. So I don't buy this ASRock thing, particularly if you update the BIOS. Like no one has been able to replicate it in a controlled environment. At least from what I know. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that I can't be wrong here, but I've just never seen it. And Reddit is a terrible, terrible place to get hardware advice. Awful place to get advice. You go there one day, you'll get one recommendation. You go there the next day, you'll get a completely opposite recommendation. So which one is correct? You don't know. So I would not trust Reddit for PC building advice. You might get good advice from time to time, but that's not going to be the norm, is it? You might get somebody very helpful. You might get somebody that is a AMD fan or an Intel fan. If I want advice about a PC, I don't want a fan of any corporation. I want what the best thing is for my money. You got an ASRock blow up, really? I see. I've never had a board blow up. Never had it. 120 watts should not be going into a 9800X 3D at any time. There's no use to doing that. That's crazy. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. So I'm going to continue to use them. But if it happens once, I will stop. But I've never seen an issue. But like I said, it's just I'm only telling people my experience. So if you've seen something with your own eyes, then that's undeniable, isn't it? Like I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. That's called gaslighting. And that was before BIOS updates. Yeah. So I mean, that's going to be one of my videos that I'm going to work on pretty soon. Is like PC advice that used to be applicable but not anymore. Like nowadays, I think you should be updating your BIOS on at least when you build your PC. I mean, you don't have to update it all the time. But the old advice was, if it works, don't update the BIOS. I think that advice is out of date now. And I think you should be updating your BIOS before completing your build. Yeah, that's fine, Ghost. But, every company's had some kind of controversy. There was MSI selling their stuff on eBay. There was Asus with their customer service. There's all kinds of these things that always come out. I don't think anybody's clean from this kind of thing. So, yeah. Yeah, so updating the BIOS is a piece of, well, I can't say what I want to say, but it's very easy. So it is up to you. Like, if you want to avoid ASRock or not, that's totally fine. I can't deny what you've seen with your own eyes, but I have never seen it, and I'll only work based on my own experience. End of the day, I'm providing the warranty anyway, so if it goes wrong, I'm out of pocket. Yeah, so Roman, that's kind of the same sort of thing that I do. Really, 2 boards at retail screw up? That's so unlucky. I use ASRock so often. I'd say about half the boards I use. Well, maybe a third actually. I use the B850 Riptide all the time. Well, yeah, Ghost is at another point there with the Asus. Yeah, I don't really use Asus boards either. They're generally a bit overpriced. And I'm scarred from AM4 with Asus. Their boards are so unreliable on AM4. I'm traumatized. Yeah, maybe TYC is an outlier, but like I find him a bit more trustworthy than the other people in the industry. So if he's managed to replicate it, then I don't know, maybe it is legit. Who knows? He's not the kind of guy that just goes out to get clout, is he? Like most of the big guys, they do. I actually kind of trust him. He seems like because I think he just leads a simple life, doesn't he? He doesn't need all the drama. Oh, that's okay, Seltrid, no problem. We're gonna have some more like guide content like that coming out for bits and pieces. It's a very popular video. All right then. So now we need to put on the sleeve cables. Yeah, to be honest, I think if I had to choose one brand, if I had to choose one brand for motherboards, I'd choose MSI. I find their boards generally my favourite. Just because I quite like the BIOS. I've never ever had an issue with an MSI board, ever. But that said, I've barely ever had any issues with any boards. In fact, the only boards I've had issues with are Asus boards. Never had problems with any others. Oh, actually, that's not true. The really cheap Gigabyte ones, but the mid-range is fine. Like, the A620s and that, they're pretty bad, but others are fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite. Dude, the thing is, I really like boards. I think they offer really good. They on like spec for spec. They're better than most others. Yeah, they tend to give you the most VRM, lots of M2s. They give you everything for a reasonable price. So I will use them. If I get any issues, I will be the first to hold my hands up and tell you that I was wrong. So we'll see. I don't really like the ASRock BIOS quite as much as the others, but you can still work it. It's not like it's terrible. I just like the others. I used the Sapphire board a couple of days ago. That BIOS is beautiful, like very aesthetic. So that's gonna go in that way, isn't it? So I need the. This is the worst bit. This is my least favorite bit of PC building is putting these freaking combs on. I need Shack mods to start making full kits again. They used to put them all the way on. I love Brian Tech Yes City, man. Well, it's such a good channel, isn't it? Come on. Just good vibes. I don't know what you could complain about. Just a great overall channel. Probably my favorite tech channel out of all of them, actually. He seems like a normal guy. Seems like he's not trying to scam anyone. Just living his life, loving it. Finding some great deals, you know. What can I say? What a guy. What a guy. You know, Ghost, one thing that's quite useful that I've started doing recently is if I've tuned a BIOS, if you save the config to a USB, you can just load it off the USB. Yeah, oh, unlucky, yeah. The Sapphire boards are nice, man. I mean, the Sapphire Pulse is kind of like, it's all right. It will be fine for a Ryzen 7, but it only has a 7-phase VRM, so it's not the best VRM for the money. But the Nitro Plus has quite a nice VRM, so if it's a similar price, the Nitro Plus is pretty good. The Bogan, yeah. The Bogan. I think for these 24 pins, 2 combs is enough, right, guys? Please back me up on this. Don't make me sit here all night putting freaking cable combs on. So the thing is, Royce, yeah, they actually are decent value. I was gonna get one, but then I saw there was a ASRock B850M Pro A that was about £15 cheaper, so I went with that instead. But the Pulse was great. The thing about the Sapphire ones is they look really nice. Like I think probably my favorite like aesthetic design out of all motherboards. They look really sleek. No RGB all over it. It's just like a nice sort of gunmetal grey color. I think they're really nice. Yeah. What's my opinion on newer gen AMD cards like the 9070 and the 9070 XT? I've found them to be fantastic. So I used to not like AMD cards that much because of what you said, the stutter and other little issues. 6000 series, apart from the 6600, I found that very meh. 7000 series, pretty meh as well. 7800 XT was pretty good. But this 9000 series, I've actually been really quite impressed with it, this 9000 series. But the 6000, 5000, 6000, and kind of 7000, I didn't really like them very much. They tend to have just little niggly issues, but the 9000 series has been absolutely rock solid for me with no issues. So I would be happy to recommend them this time round. Cool, so that's combed up. And then we'll need this one as well. Oh, this disgusting cable. I wish this cable just didn't exist. It's 12 volt 2x6. I understand the need to slimline down because 4 8-pins is kind of ridiculous, but they just needed to QA this a bit better, didn't they? They could have done they should have just taken a bit more time with the power connector. Just no end of issues, I've heard. I've never had the melting, I've never had the problems, but you see it, it's so common and between different models as well that it has to be real. So the 5700 XT did age fairly well, but I had one myself on my own computer. I had to get rid of it. It just kept black screening all the time. I tried everything. The only thing that fixed it was swapping it for a 2070 Super. So yeah. But you know, I'm saying these things about 5, 6, and 7,000 like they're all awful. They're not all awful. I'm just saying that on a global basis, I had more problems with those than I did with the equivalent NVIDIAs. But current gen, no issues with the AMDs of any class. I'd say they're equal now. So. The other thing I'm wondering about the 12 volt high power cable is that they changed it to 12 volt 2x6, didn't they? So I'm wondering if, with the better clip mechanism on it, whether that has reduced the number of burny meltiness. I don't know. So I don't know. But I still don't fully like it. I know why it exists, but I just they should have done a better job, shouldn't they? I think that's general consensus within the industry. Right, let's start feeding some cables through. So we've got HD audio that can sneak in here. We can actually just clip in this CPU power into the side bit here, can't we, as well? Which GPU is it that output H.264 is 1920 by 1082 so 1080? I don't remember that. I do remember that era of Radeon not being very good for streaming though. I think they've improved now because they've got the AV1, haven't they? But I do remember that being a bit of a hang up. So we don't need the SATA, so we'll just put that back into the stuff zone. Nice, yeah. Do you know, it always surprises me how much life the RX 580 has had and still has in it. It's quite a remarkable graphics card, isn't it? I mean, those things, they're old. Most of them have been mined on. But they've got 8 gigs RAM. They just keep going, don't they? That is a nice. I do have a lot of respect for the RX 580. All right, so USB 3 is on the side there. We have RGB connector there. Oh, tangly. Actually, I'll put it through the back connect bit. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. 8 gigs then, 8 gigs now. Put up with it, peasants. Which I imagine is what is said in NVIDIA board meetings. Yeah, you're right, Tanmay. If they're gonna die, it'll be the memory. Yeah, because they get chugged, don't they? Usually from mining. Okay. USB-C connector. I think that's the last one that needs to go through. Is mid-rise there. Beautiful. And then we can feed the 24 pin. And then we can turn it all around and do it all in one pass. The other thing that's nice about the Vector is it's got that little GPU power cable glory hole at the front, which is, I always appreciate that. It always makes the builds cleaner. Hey, have you considered doing 1x16 DDR5 builds to keep costs down for customers? Not yet. Standard. When I run out of memory, I might have to consider it, because we did do that video recently where we showed that there's not a lot of performance difference between having a single or a double or a dual channel thing. So because they're kind of like double-sided, aren't they? DDR5. You get almost a dual channel experience anyway. So. So yeah, I am considering it, but it's a little way off yet. Once my RAM stock has run out, then I might have to think about it. Yes. I've also just bought a absolute garbo kit of DDR5 32 gigs with no heat sinks, nothing. Probably got mixed ICs on it. So I'm going to make it a challenge to see if I can tune that 4800 megahertz kit up to 5600 C40 or something. Because I bought that for £210 a couple of days ago, so I'm waiting for that to arrive in a week or two. That'll be a fun challenge. It really depends on the budget level, doesn't it? Like, the thing is, like, I've got a 14600K build that I'm doing soon with 32 gigs of DDR4, and that, I think the D4 might be the way to go here, you know? So I don't know. High end, I think you're still going to be getting people on DDR5. I think you have to, but yeah. So it's tricky. It's a trick. It just sucks, doesn't it, for like normal people? Corpo's just absolutely raking in the cash, but normal people get absolutely shafted. It just seems to be the way it goes all the time now, doesn't it? Can't get a break. And just don't see how AI is going to claw back all that money that was spent on it. Now, don't get me wrong, I use ChatGPT fairly often. It's very useful for like data analysis and technical things, but just it's not worth it. I'd rather have everything back to normal again and not have ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT's been good for business, not gonna lie, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Yeah, and Ghost, the 14600K is absolutely a fantastic CPU. It's still really good. Like, it keeps up quite close to the 7800X3D in 1% lows. So it's no slouch, honestly. Intel has the expertise to manufacture around. Well, they might do. They might, but it's. I don't think it's ever that simple, is it? Because, you know, they made Optane, didn't they, for example? But I don't know. I don't know if it's that simple just to say we're going to produce some RAM. If it is, though, tell you what, though, Tanmay, if I was on the Intel board of directors and I could produce RAM, I would be packaging it as a bundle. So let's say the Intel 385K comes out. It comes with Intel DDR5 RAM in a single unit. They'll be making a shed load of money. Yeah, I agree, Ricey. Like, so you know, my Chat GPT is $12 a month. Like, that is an absolute steal for what you get. It's absolute steal. It's way too cheap. But then if they increase the price loads, I'm just not going to use it. Yeah, that would be the other thing, Ghost, isn't it? If they bring out that B770, a little Intel triple combo. Hey, listen, if there's anyone from Intel listening, I'll give me some shares. Yeah, yeah. I think £100 a month is the low end of what would be. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Right. So what have we got here? So got to put our front panel plugs and other things in, don't we? But Joe, the one problem with Gigabyte boards is their RGB connectors in a really awkward place down here. Rather they just put it along the bottom rather than slightly up. So we're going to try and work out how the Gigabyte anti-sag system works. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing, Disteo, is I don't know why does everything need to have AI in it? Like, AI is great for procedural code, data analysis, trend finding, but people are using it to like just chat with. Like, I heard there's people like they're having an argument with their partner and they put their response to Chat GPT before talking to them. That is terrifying to me. Absolutely terrifying. And you can't replace everything with AI. Like, I don't get the point. Like, what's the point of us being alive if everything's going to be robots? You know, it's just. I just think it's gone bananas. It's a useful tool, but it's gone absolutely bananas. Yeah, it just why not everything needs AI. Some things are just fine as they are. The AI either makes it worse or doesn't add anything. Mental. But let's do something different. Let's get so my understanding is Gigabyte boards, their anti-sag goes on here, right? So I'm going to look at it. If it's not intuitive, I will look up the result. But this looks huge, by the way. What the hell? AI toothbrush. What the hell? Exactly, right? A toothbrush scrubs your teeth of all the shit on it. You don't need AI for that, do you, man? Yeah. So Ricey is in a similar frame of mind to me, is that it's going to rot everyone's brain so they can't think for themselves anymore. Okay, so I assume that this is some kind of stand that goes like that, magnetic, and then you put this piece into it, I'm guessing, like that. Yeah. And then it fixes to the side of the card, I believe. But this is massive. Look how big that that's way too big, right? That anti-sag. They give you this one as well. Go go all the way to the top of the case. What are they thinking? Oh, dude. No, I put the combs on the wrong way round on the. Oh, I hate cable combs. Oh. Okay then. This is like the new long ATX standard for NVIDIA's fat GPUs. Oh, do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me either. Nothing surprises me anymore. It almost looks like it's supposed to fix to the top of the case somehow. But I'm not doing that. It's going to look ugly as sin. Right, so we've got to recomb this cable because I put it on the wrong way because I'm stupid. I love the sentiment towards AI is that we hate it. Do you know what? I just think like so many people are sick of it, aren't they? Not just in tech, like people are just sick of having it rammed down their throats all the time. Like if it had just been, marketed as like this is a helpful thing that can help your life in these specific ways, I don't think anyone would have got that annoyed. But it's just dominating everything. For what? The other thing is that things that didn't used to be called AI are called AI. So anything with like a computer program in it now is called AI. So that's the other thing, right? Okay, that comb went on a lot easier than I was expecting. That's good. All right. So I'm going to look up how this gigabyte bracket is supposed to connect. But oh wait, no. Oh, I'm going to scream. I flipped the goddamn cable round. I've got to stop talking about AI. I use AI all the time. It's so helpful. Like I ask it to, like for the website, I go, if you go on my product pages, you'll see that I've got like a live ticker, like as seen on the channel Computer Surgeon. It's got a live YouTube sub count update on the banner, and like I wouldn't know how to do that without AI. It would take me hours to learn how to do that, but the AI can do it for me. That is genuinely useful. But everything has a cost, and the cost just doesn't seem to be worth it right now, does it? It just seems to be making rich people richer, and then whenever everything collapses, they never get held accountable. Then it's never them that has to pay. It's always the taxpayer, isn't it? Or just normal people. AI probably would have put those cables on the correct side. Although you'd be surprised, like it does get things wrong quite a lot. I've had to correct it a few times on things that it's been wrong about. Right, so that's going to go like that, and that is now the correct way around. Cable clip debacle. Oh, by the way, I gave away that DDR5 RAM on the stream pre-Christmas, and it actually has made it to Austria. So Max has got the DDR5 RAM giveaway. So we'll post a picture of that at some point. So go DPD, I guess, for not stealing the RAM. All right. Let's see. What can we do about this then? Right, so what we want is... Computer Surgeon's AI confirmed. I'm sorry, as a large language model, I cannot answer that question. Right, gigabyte anti-sag installation. No, that's the old style for the... No, that's the one motherboard mounted one. That was the good one. Because that looks way too big. I want one that's like half the height of that. Surely. I can't put that in a customer's build. That's ugly as sin, right? They're all as bad as each other to stay, aren't they? Like, there's no friends in high-end corporate stuff like that, right? I can't. It's all the instructions that I'm finding here is to look up a YouTube video. That 2024, is that the right one? This looks like a Indian guy, so he's probably no, that's the old one. Oh, usually the Indian guys are absolutely rocking it. They're good with the tutorials. Oh, okay, hang on. So this is the official Aorus page. Oh, so you hang on a minute, wait. What are they thinking? Hang on, I wonder if that could be a bit clearer if I turn down the exposure a minute. It's like sits to the. You what? Terrible. So they want it to go like, but not everyone's going to have a dual chamber case, and look, this one's got a diagonal bit. Dude, no. Well, we're not using that. Bugger that. Oh, okay, so let's see, where's that? So this case comes with not the one that I'm not allowed to use anymore, but the old version of this anti-sag system, right? So I'm going to try it, and if we get GPU issues, then I'll know what's caused it. But this one's a bit lower tack, which is a good thing. So it's just like this. I wish they still made these ones. I actually prefer these to the new ones. A lot more simple to install. But the vectors come with these, which is quite nice. So let's do it. So we need these standoffs, which we've got here. That's good. And then we will need the nut driver. Put that on the end. And presumably that can just go in there. Cool. Where's the other washer? Just gonna have a look under here. See, there it is. Ah. Cool. And then this piece just goes here. I mean, you can also put it in the central one. I just like putting it on the right-hand one. There we go. Sweet as. And why don't we just be a bit nice to the customer as well? We'll just pre-route a SATA cable in there as well, just in case they want to upgrade later. All right, so we're actually getting there, guys. Nearly done, actually. Making good time for once as well. So next is to put this beauty in. RTX 5080 gigabyte. Very, very nice. Lots of people are buying high-end systems at the moment. Average order value over the past couple of weeks has gone crazy. It's like, I think the average order value is about 1,900, maybe even 2,000. Crazy. I think people are just trying to get the last chopper out of Nam, if you know what I mean. Just get something that's going to last 5 years now, ride everything out. I mean, that's what I think is happening anyway. Okay. So we've just got this little dealie here. And this just goes onto that railing. Like so. Just go. Oh no, of course, but that would be too easy, wouldn't it? But it looks like it's going to block the fan. Yeah, it's blocking the fan. So you can't use that either. I can hear it rattling against the fan. All right, so can't use that. Maybe if I take the sponge off. No, that doesn't work either. And I think we'd meet the same fate if we did it in the middle, I think, because I don't know if maybe there's a little bit more shroud there. I mean, let's try it. We're taking it chill today. We're not in a rush. We'll move it over and see if it works. If this doesn't work, then it'll have to be a bar support. Unbelievable. Everyone's just completely burnt out with the AI. Just, I'm right there with you guys, honestly. Honestly. Just put the touches on the presentation chamber of the case. We're going to try this anti-sag in an alternative location. And then if that doesn't work, then we will cry forever. Okay. Oh, gentlemen. Let's just see if we can pull it off or not. I still don't think it's going to work, but we'll see, won't we? Whoa, just dropped the nut driver. Okay, take two. Oh, actually, not yet. Where are people viewing from today then? I know we've got Jacob who is in Spain, I believe. It's always interesting to know what corners of the world that people are tuning in from. Hopefully it's somewhere that's having slightly better weather than the UK at the moment. It's absolutely piddling it down at the moment. Standard, yes, I've actually had quite a lot of success with my Facebook ads. Actually, to my surprise. But they're not cheap. I have to spend about £40 to £50 per customer to get a good result on Facebook Meta ads. So why isn't this going in properly? Try it the other way up. Florida, California, nice. So you guys, it's probably like late morning for you, is that right? It's got to be this way around. I've just got it. It's not too bad, yeah. It's just a lot more than I was expecting, to be honest. But it's still worth it to do the ads at that cost. It's just hard to stomach, right? But I get some from YouTube, some from TikTok, so those aren't necessarily paid, are they? So that helps as well. God, this anti-sag's pretty flimsy, actually. Right, and then try again. Good, so it's in nicely. No, it hits it. Hits the fan. Sorry, Leanne Lee. No use for your anti-sag today. It's just, God, I know, like for 40 quid a customer, man. That's a lot of money. But it's better than having no customer, right? So it's just the cost of doing business, I suppose. But after all this messing around with this anti-sag system, turns out that the good old-fashioned bar that you stick underneath is still the best method. Are there any Canadians in the chat? I'd like to know what it's like to live in Canada. I'm just curious. Well, actually, and the US, I suppose, but because maybe a little plan B, move to Canada. If GPU rise, CPU be next? No, I doubt it. I really doubt it. I don't think CPUs will go up. If anything, I think CPUs will be going down a lot soon, because people aren't going to be building systems with them. The GPU is going up because of the VRAM cost, right? And because of lower grade AI uses. Like the 5070 Ti is disappearing before my very eyes. It goes up in price every day. That's true, Tanmay. So it is still, I guess after about 10 days, it's probably still in the learning stage, isn't it, the advert? So we'll see. Yeah, UK is getting a bit rough. But then I've also heard that Canada's not that great either. I mean, mainly the house prices over there are pretty grim. So I don't know, but it might be another plan if the computers don't work out and I go back to medicine, maybe I want to train and then go over to Canada instead. I don't know. US is much harder to transfer your license and stuff, so Canada is much more UK friendly for medicine. We'll see. So after all that, guys, we didn't even use the anti-sag in the end because it didn't work. It kept hitting the fans. So good old-fashioned bar support is what we need. And just hook up our favorite cable, 12 volt 2x6. That's in. And what like I was talking about earlier, I love the little glory holes on the cases like this, right? Because you just put the GPU cable down there. That's way cleaner. Let's get that cable comb up. It just looks a heck of a lot better going down straight down like that than having to wrap it round the back or over the top. So I like that from Leanne Lee, much appreciated. The only way to make that cleaner would be if you had like a 90-degree one that went straight down, but this still looks pretty nice and neat in my opinion. That's true, isn't it? Yeah, especially if you're in a big city, you don't get a good house here, do you? The first revision of the case didn't have the cutout. Interesting. Ah, well, it's definitely an improvement. What does the after auction insight report show and impressions? Oh, do you know what? I don't know. I haven't actually looked too much at the analytics. I know that the click-through rate for the ads is around 8%, and I think that's quite good, isn't it? So, I don't know. I think the cost per action is in like converting to adding to going through checkout stuff. I don't know how good the implementation is with the metapixel, but it seems to be driving more sales, because since I've started doing the ads, I have had a lot more sales from all around the country. I get some recommendations apparently from ChatGPT. I got one from TikTok today. I haven't used TikTok for months, but maybe I need to. And then I get a good number from YouTube as well. Not too many though. I think because you guys you know how to build your own. Like, you don't want to buy PCs from me. Do I ship all over? Well, all over the UK, yes, but I wouldn't ship internationally. It's just it's too risky. I've got the shipping process down like really good now. Like, I think my shipping is the best out of any PC company in the country. But yeah. So I'm going to start producing more short form content and posting it to TikTok, I think. Because I think I'm missing a bit of a gold mine there. But the problem is, because I'm too old, I don't really understand TikTok. I don't really get it. Like, I don't get what would work there. Whereas on YouTube, to a little extent, I kind of understand what people want to see. So, nah. I guess I should just learn, right? That's always the answer. Okay, so we've got a little viper's nest of cables here to sort out. So let's crack on with that. I think first we need to make sure that our RGB is actually connected. So let's do that. That can piggyback off that one. And all our fans are okay. Lovely. Take it from the top then. (1 to 2% is normal. Well, is it really? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Tanmay, I don't try to do ads that are just like, I've got amazing PCs. Come buy these amazing PCs. Because realistically, everybody's doing that. So I'm focusing more on the after-sales service, you know, the customer experience, because I'm never going to compete on lowest price. I just don't have the industry contacts to be able to compete on lowest price. So I have to compete on service. So that's what I'm aiming for. And I think my photography and videography is quite good. I think. Gaming Boy's he's got the complete set there. All you need is a Core 2 Duo, and you've got all of the CPU that you could ever need. Alright, try and keep those off the back of the motherboard. It's looking a bit tidier. Good. And this one need to go through there, so will that one. So give it a little hookity hook. And then we've got a tie point there, so we can use that. So I think 8% is quite good for a click-through rate. I mean, on YouTube, if I had a 8% click-through rate on my YouTube videos, I'd be laughing. I never get that. Usually get between 3 and 5%. So the ads are doing all right. I might even need to just spend more on them, to be honest. But I'm going to run out of money, and I really want to stock up on graphics cards and stuff, because the 5070 Ti's are going up in price all the time now. Doing my head in. Let's just check that looks good on the other side. That's good. Yeah, I've been thinking about outsourcing the editing. If I can sell some more PCs, I probably will. Because it's quite a time sink, actually, editing. And I can do basic editing, but I can't do anything really fancy. This case is pretty easy for cable management, though. Pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. That was very simple. Yeah, I think the short form content is just laziness on my part, really. Yeah. I need to just bite the bullet and actually just do it. Give it a little Shia LaBeouf and just do it. Okay, I think that is perfectly satisfactory for cables. It's looking pretty good on this side. I can just straighten that 24 pin down a bit. Get that 12 volt cable straight. Looking good. And we'll just take the little peel off the CPU cooler. Lovely. Alright, boys. I think we're good. Now we're going to tempt fate in a very bad way here by putting the panel back on. It's tradition on the channel. Whoosh. It must go like this way. Right? No, that's not right. This way, that's it. Oops. Bam, bam. Okay. I'll give it a little flip. Ooh. Put the front piece back on. Ooh. Does it have an inside film? Maybe it doesn't. No film on the inside. Okay. And then top panel, and we can try it out. Whoosh. Oh, does it really? So don't increase it too much. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Amazing. Right, I'm gonna hook up a little portable monitor, then hook up the power, and then we'll see if it boots up. One would hope it does. Everything looks to have been done properly, so whoosh. And we will need a power cable. Oh, find one. Okay, so I think we should go to the other camera for the first boot. So I'll swap you over in just a sec. Move the tripod round. Honestly, the number of cables I have here is disgusting. Just getting the tripod ready. Okay. And then we just move the big key light round. Bazinga! Right, let's change. Disgusting. Ooh. Do I game or just build PCs? At the moment, just build PCs and do YouTube content. Used to game a bit, but I just don't have time anymore. Like last week was crazy busy. All right, ready? 2, 1. Okay, fans are spinning. There's power. That is a good start. Everything is lit up. You can hear things spinning, which usually means the RAM training is about to start, which is good news. I love how the Russian miner he pops up in the chat just to rip me. Okay, we've got a little post on the screen here, perfect. All right, so I think we'll start with a little BIOS update. So we'll show that process. And then we'll get Windows on. Okay. Whoosh, we'll do a full fly through of the build in a mo. Let's just get BIOS updated first. So we want M flash. This is the old school MSI BIOS, isn't it? I guess because it's a B650. There's a new MSI BIOS out now. It's really aesthetic, actually. Okay. M Flash. No, I don't care, Russian. I don't care. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm old, but like, it's the internet, man. I'm not gonna get offended if you insult me over the internet. So, so I just take it as a joke. So it's totally cool. Okay. We're in the flash mode. So I do recommend that everybody updates their BIOS when they, at least when they first build their PC. Just get you up to date. Cool. Because you can see we've gone forward 4 months here, and a lot can change in 4 months. So this is the latest, I think this is the latest regular BIOS, but not the latest beta BIOS, just for stability. It is a joke. Of course it's a joke. You can't download RAM. Unless you go to pc36.co.uk. And we have a complete download RAM section. Just go to downloadram.com. Just built first Ryzen with a MSI B550 and a Ryzen 7. Wait, R7 5800 XT. What? Oh, you mean like that Ryzen? Okay, fine. My board has this. Yeah, it's called. I think it's called like the Click 5 BIOS, isn't it, or something? This one, yeah. Yeah. They haven't changed it in ages. It was the same on B450. The B850s do have a different looking BIOS, which is a little bit more aesthetic and pretty. Well, whilst that's going, why don't we have a little swing tour? Bring it back, try and get the longest focal length possible for the best possible presentation of the case. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say, really. It's the Lianli Vector. It's pretty, just all round, pretty competent dual chamber case. I think it was definitely worth routing the liquid cooler this way. If you had the pipes coming out the right here, it would be all bunched up and gross. So I think that's a lot better. So overall, tidy build. And then customers that have bought this series with this case, they've always loved it. They think it looks great. I think it looks great. And it's like a 70 quid case with the fans included. So pretty nice all around. Who in the chat remembers Windows? I think it was Windows 7 or was it Vista? They had Ready Boost. Do you remember that? Where you could plug in a USB stick and like, quote unquote, add to your RAM. That was funny, man. Windows Ready Boost. So if anybody's new to the stream, we've actually just finished building, but this is the Lianli Vector V100 case. I'll get something to point with. We have the Gigabyte RTX 5080. It's just the regular WindForce version. And then we've got the B650 Tomahawk motherboard. That's by MSI. You can see we've got 32 gigabytes of Acer RAM, which is actually made by Bywin. And then we have the 240mm Thermalright AIO. This is the Frozen Note, or Frozen Note. I don't know how you pronounce it. And then underneath, it's a Ryzen 7 9800X3D. We've got a 1TB Clev Kraz SSD in there as well. But I think it's a pretty cool looking case, right? It's just like good value, good cooling, all round, just nice, right? It's not like it's not gonna blow your socks off with how classy it looks, but it's nice. Yes, so Sanj, they do have a micro ATX version, don't they? It's coming out soon, the V100R Mini. I don't know how much smaller it is though. I don't know if it's got 3 fans on the side or 2. I don't remember. But micro ATX is a big meta at the moment. People are loving it. Fantex XT V3 is very, very popular. Okay, okay, okay. Slightly shorter and a tad thinner. Yeah, see, the thinness is important, isn't it? Because, you know, whilst the dual chamber case is nice, like this kind of atrium style with the PSU still in the basement, overall I think is better because if you start putting the power supply like behind it, you have to widen the case, and that's just like not realistic for most people's desks, is it? So the only issue with the micro ATX cases is that you have to be quite careful with what motherboard you use, because if you've got a high-end system and you get one of those motherboards where the PCIe long slot isn't in the highest possible position, you end up not getting enough airflow through the bottom of the graphics card sometimes. So that's just one thing to look out for. All right, so let's just whip Windows onto this one for a second. Then we'll do the BIOS setup after. I don't have a product key. Pro, because it's the same price for me to buy the Pro license, so I might as well. Boom. And if anyone's wondering, we're using a utility called Rufus to create our USB prior to this process, and we do have a really good video on the channel showing you how to create your own Windows installation USB without all the privacy invading crap, and to allow you to have an offline local account as well. So yeah. So that's what we're doing now. Just putting on a bit of Windows Pro. We are on, I think we're on the latest one, which I believe is 25H2. So all good. Now with Pro, even if you use the official Microsoft one, you can get around the online Microsoft account requirement. But I just prefer using Rufus. It's far quicker. It just opts me out of all the stuff, so that you can just get on with using the PC. I want to see. I want to see what our poll results are while this is going. Like, which organs are people selling? Well, who's winning? Kidney at 48%. Oh, people. I guess that's actually a pretty smart pick, because it's probably the only one of those you could actually donate and survive. So actually, no, testes you could survive, but you wouldn't be able to reproduce. So I guess that would would have its own issues. What I should have put is one kidney or one testicle. But you definitely don't want to lose your pituitary gland, and you definitely don't want to lose your brain. So I think overall, guys, you made a sensible choice there with your organ needs. Pharaoh, do you have a recommendation for a good case but a low price? Yeah, there's loads of good cases at the moment. If you've got a micro ATX, I would recommend the Fantex XT M3 or XT V3. Both of those are great choices. Around £60 in the UK, pretty good price. I guess you could donate part of. Yeah, you could donate part of your liver. Yeah, is that worth anything on the black market though? I don't know. I mean, it's the only one of the organs that would regenerate, wouldn't it? So, yeah. Desperate times call for desperate organ donations. All right, well, it's pretty boring looking at that Windows installation screen, so why don't we have another look here? So we've obviously still got the protective plastic on the front, so it won't look quite as shiny, but still a nice build. Quite like this little thin strip here. Adds a little extra something as well. Okay, thanks, bye. Bye, see you, Pharaoh. Have a good one, baby. Okay. Look at all that dust. You know, the camera doesn't lie, does it? Look at that. Well, do you know what? I reckon my sperm might be worth something, you know, because I'm 6'6" tall. So that's probably what genes people would want, right? Come on. God, I swear every Windows revision version, it takes longer to install. It's taken ages. Right, I'm gonna. Well, it's back to the PC, and I'm just gonna go get a snack then while we wait because unbelievable. That's a pretty neat looking system. I do find that if you're going to use a 240 liquid cooler in this kind of case, that you want to try and line up where the pipes end with the fan, so you're not having it hang over the fans too much. Otherwise, it's going to look a bit goofy. Some people would think, yeah, I want this in the middle, but then you've got pipes going over your fan, so it looks better this way to me. Ultimately, the best way to make this look nice is to have a 360, isn't it? But this still looks pretty neat and tidy. Did a really cool tower air-cooled build in the Corsair 3500X yesterday. Just did it off stream. Really nice as well. Laptop doesn't support Windows 11. Yeah, not officially. You can still install Windows 11 if you wanted. Right, here we go. So, we do not want to connect to the internet, please. And then I need to write their username in. So, because the way I set it up is I sort of just get them set up with a little user account locally, right? I don't make them do the whole process because this means I can install the drivers reliably and just know that it's going to work. It's like an extra 5 minutes of work, but saves support tickets, so it's worth it. I'm just going to see what username the customer requested for this one. Oh, someone's just ordered a Fractal North build from us as well. God, that case is so popular. Fractal North is going crazy. Okay, so what did we say? What do we have for this one? We had it as... What? How did they add it to the basket without putting their name in? Well, I'll just use their first name then. If anyone knows of a better product listing options app than Globo for Shopify, let me know. We can use that. That's just someone's first name. That's not going to dox them. It's no problem. Cache OS. I've heard about Cache OS. Yeah, Linux is pretty good for old hardware, isn't it? Because it is very lean. So that's really the route to go, isn't it? If you want to get on the latest stuff. But you can definitely get Windows 11 to run on older stuff. It's just the security risk from not having secure boot, isn't it? Yeah. Best starter pack under 2500 AMD 8700F and 7900 GRE. God no, that sounds terrible. You get much better than that. Okay. So let us. We could install the drivers now, couldn't we? We could do the BIOS after. Right, where's my SSD? So we'll just be doing a standard setup. And get the AMD Wi-Fi driver. AMD Bluetooth driver. Both done. Thanks to Lucky the Dragon. There you go, both working, good. Next is chipset driver. Copy them NVIDIA over to there, save us some time in a minute. Copy over the thermal benches. Is it too? It's too low. I can turn it. I might be able to turn up the gain a little bit. Let's have a look. So filters, gain. We'll put that up to 3 decibels then, if it's a little bit quiet. Okay, maybe slightly better. I don't want to overdo it though, so yeah. So, Drippy King, if you've got hardware banned, you need to replace your motherboard most of the time, and don't cheat again, please. It's the motherboard, and sometimes also, and you'll also need to make a new account. Don't sign into your old account on the new motherboard because you'll just ban that as well. It's a bit low. Okay, fine. It's coming up in the yellow on mine, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm just mumbling today. Maybe that's the issue. I'll put it up to 4 decibels. My God, I'm loud. And then for RGB software, I'm going to leave the installation file for Signal RGB on their desktop, and they can decide whether they want to install it or not. So chipset software is on. Next is the graphics. I agree with Reluctant. 7500F is pretty good. Yeah. The 8400F is okay, but like you're only saving like 15 quid and you get much less cash, so I would just get the 7500F. It's a decent CPU. Used it quite a few times now, so yeah. So yeah, Drippy, you can just you can buy the same model of motherboard or any other compatible motherboard. That's fine. Yeah. But you'll need to reinstall Windows, and you'll need a new account for Epic. This also takes longer than it used to. NVIDIA driver and AMD. Drippy, yes, you will. Unless it's tied to your Microsoft account. Because usually the license code is tied to the motherboard. So here's a PC. All right. Okay. Getting there now, gentlemen. Right. So that's done. Now, one thing I like to do is edit the power plan. And specifically, turn off the fast startup. This is a key thing that I change on every system. This thing that says turn on fast startup. That should definitely be off, in my opinion. Not on. Cool. Let's go sort out our BIOS. Drippy says RX 7600 XT, Ryzen 5 7600X, B650 Gaming AX. That's a pretty nice little combo. And AK600 cooler. Nice. I would say, yeah, well, it depends, like what games you play, right? If you're just playing Fortnite, then the CPU will be the thing you need to upgrade, most likely. Arnold says, Ryzen 5 7600X, Okanos Aqua 3, Peerless Assassin 120. What temps normal at idle? Well, what do you define as idle? Do you mean idle in the BIOS like this? Windows desktop, or just when using a browser? People have different definitions for that, don't they? Okay, so we're going to put on the Expo profile. We're going to edit the fans. So the CPU, we can just go boosh, 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 boosh. That's fine. Pump is slightly different. Something like that is ideal, I think. Next one is System 4. Oh, that's much quieter already. Perfect. Oh, it's actually nearly silent now. Fantastic. Cool. And then just go to Advanced Settings. Boot. No, it's not there, is it? It's Security. No, not saving next Security. Secure boot. Enabled standard. Perfect. PCI subsettings. Resize bar on. Good. Advanced CPU. AMD overclocking. Precision boost overdrive. Advanced. PBO limits. Motherboard. And then we're not doing any further tuning, so we will leave it there. Just save that as a little BIOS setting there. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how quickly you can set your BIOS up. Easy peasy. That's why I like MSI BIOS. Very easy to find everything. So if you only play those games, especially if you only play them at 1080p, then you might want to upgrade the CPU. Most likely. But I expect you're probably getting good performance on those games already, right? So do you need to upgrade is the question. $1440. Well, if you can monitor your game using an MSI Afterburner, if your GPU's at like 100% or like anything above 90%, then you probably need to upgrade your GPU. If GPU is below 85, then you can probably just upgrade the CPU. But like it depends. If it's giving you enough performance, you don't need to spend any money. But if you're going to upgrade the CPU, make a proper upgrade. Don't just get the next Ryzen 7 up. Go for the 9800X 3D. Cool. Right. So, because I don't have the antennas in the box, I'll put a USB Wi-Fi in. Oh, Max is here with his DDR5 yacht. Everybody get to Austria because Max has RAM. All right. We'll connect to the guest strongest. Crocodile 4. Perfect. Your CPU cooler is starting to sag. That's an installation problem, my friend. They really shouldn't sag. Somebody earlier said what a normal CPU temperature is. On a Ryzen, you're looking at like idle, like anywhere between 30 and 50 is fine. In gaming, you want it under 80 if possible. Maximum stress test, keep it under 95. Well, if your GPU is sagging, Drippy, why are you changing the CPU cooler? You need to put a GPU bar support in. Okay. Let's check for some updates. $95 is alright for a stress test if you're on a stock cooler. The X3Ds do that all the time in stress tests. Definitely shouldn't be hitting 95 in games though. But, you know, these numbers aren't optimal numbers. They're just what's like safe. Like, if you want optimal numbers, like the point beyond which there's no point going any further, gaming temps, you want them like 75 or less. Stress test temps, you want 80 or less. That's like a good scenario. All right. Well, shed load of updates going there, isn't there? No, I do not want the MSI installer. Go away. So Arnold, if that temperature keeps rising in the BIOS till you get into like 60 degrees plus, you've probably got a mounting issue, or you've left the plastic sticker on the CPU cooler, on the cold plate, or there's something wrong there. 48 is quite high for the BIOS. You have a cooler issue. Remount the cooler, change the paste, make sure you haven't left the plastic piece on the cold plate. Those will be my first ports of call. Alright, well, leave that going. Check that the RAM is running at its rated speed, which it is. 6,000 mega transfers, perfect. Let's get stressing. It's doing this because it's just installed the AMD integrated graphics driver. Does that all the time. Right. Yeah, I know, Ghost, you can do that. You can also use sysprep to create a USB, but I just like it this way. It's clean. Doesn't take long. It's totally fine. Okie dokie. So, 3D adaptive, extreme. Yeah, I would. I'd be looking at the paste or some other mounting problem. I would definitely be taking that cooler off and having a look if it keeps climbing. So idling CPU around 40, that's pretty exceptional. And let's put it under some load. Oh, we need to put the glass back on as well, actually, otherwise it's not going to be a very good test, is it? It looks murky because it's still got the plastic wrap on it. But when the customer gets it, it'll be lovely and clear. Ever heard of the Chris Titus tool? Yep, I use it. I use it for the if the customer chooses like extended optimization. That's one of the tools that I will use, the Chris Titus tool, and it's fantastic. It does strip out a lot of stuff that you just don't need. It won't improve your game performance. It's not going to get you more FPS, but it makes Windows a lot nicer to work with. So yeah, I do use that. It's good, and I would recommend it. It's easy to use as well. Especially like it disables Copilot, which I think is great. It might improve on lower end PCs. Maybe. How low end are we talking? Yeah, on the really low end stuff for sure, but usually that wouldn't support Windows 11 anyway. Would be my thought on that. Yeah. Okay, so let's see how our temps are looking good so far. So bring it up. Whoosh. So we've got both the CPU and GPU stress running together, which you should do if you're going to properly stress a system. You can't just test one component at a time. You've got to test them both, because that's how you know the maximum heat input through the system, right? Yeah, you can do power plans as well, yeah, if you need to, depending on the device, that's right. So looking pretty good. Temp's going up a little bit on the CPU. That's pretty good temp for a 9800X3D though. Not going to lie, that's pretty great. These can often go up to 90 and above, even with good cooling. So it literally just depends on how lucky you are with your CPU sample. You know, so some 9800X3Ds will just shoot up to 90 straight away. Some of them won't. Just the way it is. Silicon lottery. So these are looking all right. Give it another minute or two, and then we'll probably wrap the stream up in a couple of minutes, guys. Getting a bit late. So if there's any burning CPU or GPU questions that you have, I would speak now. So at some point this week coming up, I've got a tiny ITX build that I've got to do with an RTX 5090 and a 9800X3D. and I can only fit a 53mm cooler in. It's going to take all of my skill to tame that CPU with such a small cooler. I got the Thermalright full copper cooler with a Noctua fan on it, so we'll have to see how that goes. I think we can do it. I'm planning to reduce the package TDP down to 95 watts, because you won't lose much performance there. Recover some of the performance with a curve optimizer, set a thermal limit, and we're going to use Noctua NTH2 paste. We're going to use every little thing that we can to get that temperature down and see if it works. But that will be interesting. I'll be doing a video on that as well. Just because the 5090 is so thick that you don't have very much room for a cooler. I mean, you could run eco mode, but I want to try and retain as much of the performance as possible. So I think if we lower the package power to like 90 watts on that particular build, then I think we'll retain most of the performance. We'll also undervolt the graphics card as well. Try and knock 50 to 80 watts off that, reduce the heat through the system as well. So it'd be a fun project. Bloody expensive build this guy's bought though. 4,500 quid or something stupid. So when you say undervolt the CPU, it depends what you mean. Like, we'll be reducing the package power, which will probably undervolt it anyway. We'll be using the curve optimizer to retain some of that performance at the lower voltage. So I guess it's a form of undervolting, yeah. Definitely undervolt the graphics as well, because that's going to be dumping like 400 watts into the case, so yeah. But the curve optimizer is pretty sweet. You do reclaim the performance loss that you would get from limiting the power, so it's pretty good. And you can get -20 curve optimizer all core on pretty much every CPU, and some of them will go to -30. So, you know, it's worth doing. I think -30 for me is a little bit too far. I probably wouldn't do that because it can be a bit unstable depending on the silicon lottery. So, but -20 is pretty confident for most CPUs to be able to achieve. That same build will also have to. I've got a 7600 CL38 kit that I'm going to try and tune to 6000 C28 if the board will do it. So we'll see. But usually ITX boards are actually pretty good for RAM because they're only 2 DIMMs. So usually they're quite good for RAM. So it loses performance compared to -20. This is, yeah, I find that -20 is the best place to be with the curve optimizer, in my opinion. All right, so looking all right. I think ATC is perfectly acceptable for this system, considering it's a 240 AIO, not a 360, and that we've got, you know, a 5080 here that's dumping 360 watts into the system as well at the same time. And because our CPU cooler is exhaust, it will be taking some of that air on. I'd say this is a pretty acceptable result. And look, we're using 120 watts here. Not going to be using that much in games, apart from maybe Battlefield 6. It can only go -10 on the 5800 XT. Yeah, I think the AM4s don't go quite as far with the curve opti, so that wouldn't surprise me. So it'll be a fun challenge, but you know, ideally you just use a micro ATX case, right? Because you're just gonna get more cooling capability, but be good fun. And Philo's here. Is it worth it to undervolt a CPU? It depends. Like what are you trying to, like, whenever you try and change something on a PC, like, think about what goal am I trying to achieve here? Like, what result do I want to get from doing what I'm doing? If your games work well you are happy with your PC, it's doing everything that you want and more, there is absolutely no need to change anything. But if you're saying, I want my PC to run a little bit quieter, I want to eke out, 1 to 2% performance more, then you can start looking into these kind of things. It's up to you. I do it on all my PCs because I like using less power for the same performance. But I'm an enthusiast. If I was just wanted to achieve a goal of gaming well, then would I want to? It probably doesn't matter, does it, really? Yeah, I know it's lower power draw and less heat, but what's the goal? That's not a goal, is it? The goal is, if your room is getting really hot and that's bothering you because of the heat, that's a goal that you could achieve by undervolting. If your thermals are going too high on your processor, reducing the performance, then undervolting will be a good goal to go for. But if everything's working fine and you've not got any problems, then you're not achieving anything. You're just changing a number. But I do, in principle, I do like the undervolting, and I do it on my own systems. So I think we've reached a bit of a steady state here with the CPU. 82C seems to be where it is, but it's just going to show like how good graphics card cooling has become now. I mean, look at that, 68 degrees on a 360 watt card. It's quite a thin cooler on this Gigabyte, so it's pretty good. Yeah, exactly. So if your CPU is running at 70C on 100% CPU on OCCT, I don't know what you're not really going to gain a whole lot. I wouldn't have thought. I think that's pretty impressive cooling actually. But these 3Ds, they always end up hotter. If we put a 7500F in here, for example, you're going to be using, with PBO on, it might go up to 85 watts. You'll be down in the 70s for that for sure. So yeah, looking pretty good. 68C on the GPU, looking nice, looking nice. Very pleased with that. So this is why you don't need elaborate GPUs. You don't need to buy the Asus Astral. Like, realistically, what are you getting by buying that graphics card apart from a nicer looking model? Like, it's not going to affect the thermals that much. Like, GPU under 70C under full load, pretty sweet in my opinion. I'll take that off so we can all have another look inside. Come on, there we go. And it's, the fans are going, but it's not super loud. It's pretty good. Yeah, looking nice. How are these Windows updates going on? Most of them are done. They need a restart. What about Microsoft Store? Are they done? They're done as well. Cool. Well, it looks like we're sitting pretty here. Nice. Beautiful. I'm going to let these updates run now, so let's do just that. Restart. Run the thermal test for an hour off stream in a minute, but I'm not going to put you through all of that. Yeah, 56. To be honest, though, 5600 with a stock cooler getting 70C is pretty good. I think, like Ghost says, you could extract a bit more performance from that, even if it means your CPU is going to 80C. I mean, it's still going to be acceptable. I'd ensure that the PBO is enabled in your BIOS. because your thermals are just a number. There's nothing unsafe about your CPU running at 80 degrees C. It'll just be like the noise concern if that's something if you know, don't mind. So the last few Windows updates are going through, and then we're good. Yeah, so you can enable PBO. I think if you've got an A320, A520, then you won't be able to put the PBO on. But any other motherboard should be fine. It's definitely worth looking into. Oh, I just had another order come through. Tell you what, the 9070 XT, guys, it was really popular. Really popular. Yeah. So, do you know what? The fact that you've got the A520 does explain why your temperatures are low, because the stock cooler is designed to run a CPU with 65 watts TDP, which is what yours will be running, or maybe a bit less. If you enable PBO, then your motherboard will push it as high as 90 watts, which is too much for a stock cooler to handle. So that's why people say the stock cooler is not enough, because it won't handle PBO. But actually, if you run it without PBO, it'll be fine. So that actually is a perfect explanation. Yeah, no, Ghost, that is pretty sweet. You've got a good sample. You must have a very good silicon for your 9800X3D, because that's very low temperatures with 112 watts. So that's good. You must have a good airflow setup as well. That's impressive. But that depends if you're running that alongside the GPU test as well, obviously, because like when we test it here, we've got GPU kicking out 360 watts of heat, which is going to go straight up and into the cooler, isn't it? So that's something else you've got to, yeah, you've got to be careful. Beautiful. So yeah, Laura's all over it. You know, like that's pretty good. You've got a pretty optimized setup there. 95 watts, minus 10 curve, 50 boost clock. Nice. Yeah, I love that. And also the other thing, whilst these atrium style with the fans on the side here look nice, if you want the best airflow, you want a front intake. Something like a Fractal Meshify 3, Haven BF360. It's going to give you better cooling than this case. But this case has that look that people like. Yeah, so it's not wrong to want your system to look a certain way, even if that comes at the cost of 2 or 3 degrees on your temperatures. Because at the end of the day, what is the point of having a computer? The point of the computer is to have something that you enjoy using. Part of enjoyment is looking at the PC, if that's what you think. That is perfectly valid, and that's absolutely a sensible reason to choose one case over another. This is why PC is so fun, right? Because what one person may love this, another person might go, oh, I don't want all that RGB, I'll just have a nice like dark system. And they can both be happy. That's what's so cool about PC. Like, I mean, personally, I don't care. Like, my PC is strapped underneath my desk, so I can't even see my PC. I don't care what it looks like. It's a tool to me. Like, I do this kind of stuff all day. So to me, this is like my outlet for doing that kind of thing. My own PC, strapped under the desk, never see it. I do need to change my case though, because for somebody that owns a PC company, my cooling isn't great on my PC. I've got a Fractal Terra with a 7800X3D and a 4080 Super, so I'm going to try and move it into a Deepcool CH160 Plus with a chunky Deepcool Assassin VC. That's going to be my next plan. But I really want Deepcool to sponsor me, so I'm leaving it to see if they're going to sponsor me. Basically. All right, so Windows updates are all applied. I think we're good to go here. So we're going to end the stream in about 2 or 3 minutes time, guys. Okay? So anything else that needs to be said, please speak now or forever hold your peace. And whilst that's going, I will see if I can activate Windows on this. I can't remember if I've used all the licenses for my current code, so we'll have a look. How many case fans would you have with a Ryzen 5600 GTX 1060? Well, that's not going to be a very high wattage system, so you don't need a lot. But how many fans is less important. Like, you know, we need to know what case you've got. Like, if you just got a nice mesh fronted case, have you got atrium or fish tank like this? It all changes. It all changes the recommendation. Okay, so let me find my key. See if I've got any more redemptions left on it. If not, no worries. I may have used them all up, but let's see. And I'll put it over here so you lot can't blink and steal my Windows Pro code. You leeches. Ah, I must have used all the codes. The dreaded red message. That's fine. I'll just have to buy another code and activate it off stream in a minute. Totally cool. Yeah, so Laura is mainly right there. Placement of the fans is more important. Yeah, I get behind that. So if you've just got a basic front to back case, like you want 2 or 3 in the front and then 1 in the back, that's usually enough. And then I don't know what cooler you've got for your CPU, but if it's, I think maybe you said you had the stock cooler, then that'll be fine. Ideally, you want more fans going in than out, but it's not an exact science like that. Like, you can manipulate it, and it's not the worst to have it the other way around. So I saw somebody just subscribed, so thank you. I think that's Puny, isn't it? Thank you for subbing. And guys, I'm going to give it another 2 minutes, and then we're going to sign off the stream. So I would encourage anybody that's enjoying the stream to please like and subscribe. And turn the notifications on as well, because if you enjoy this kind of thing, I'm going to do it every 1 to 2 weeks. So it'd be nice to see you guys again. We've had some good chats going on, some good advice from some experts in the chat here, so it's fantastic. Yeah. And I want to emphasize that it's easy to think that there's a right way to do everything that's absolute and always correct, but that's just not how it works. It all depends on what the goal is from the PC that you're going to use, what your preferences are, what do you need from the PC. So you can't take black and white advice, it just doesn't work. So yeah. And also, like, don't be, I know we're on these streams because all my PCs that I build obviously are new through my company. They're going to be using the latest stuff. But I don't want you to go away from these streams thinking I need new stuff all the time. If the gear that you have is doing the job, guys, save your money. Get a gym membership. Do something else to enhance your life. Like, not everything has to be sunk into a PC, especially in times like these. Fabulous. All right, I think that's quite a nice place to end the stream, guys. Thanks for joining. I'll just spin the camera around, say goodbye proper. But it's been a fun one. I'm going to keep them to this length, so a bit shorter than before. We used to do this for like 6 hours, and that was far, far too long. There we go. Oh, I'm drifting. All right, guys. So I'm going to sign off now. See you later. Thanks for joining, everybody. And my final shout out here is subscribe, turn the notification bell on, so that you can get more access to the videos and indeed the streams. I'm going to aim to do another one next Sunday if possible, so we'll see. Lovely. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good one.